My first interaction with white people is when I worked as a farm laborer. I started working weeding sugarcane fields at the age of 12. At the age of 12, I could carry 12 kilograms of fertilizer on my back, and I never looked back. The white gentleman I was working for was chairperson of the South African Sugar Association. He's late now. He was filthy rich. And being exposed to such working conditions, poor working conditions, it opened up my mind, and then I started looking around me what was going on. I was able to look around and see how he discriminated between different race groups in terms of workers. He had an Indian foreman, and every other supervisor was Indian. And Africans like me who were laborers.
So let's start by talking about the Judge Hlophe.
Yes.
Born in Stenga in KZN in the late 50s. So just briefly tell us about how you grew up, especially in the apartheid South Africa.
Thank you. I'll be very brief. I was born on the 19th of May, 1959. In a small town called Watuguza. It used to be called Stenga. It's north of Durban. And I grew up poor like most South Africans. And my parents were very poor, and my father was a security guard, and he worked as a traditional healer as well. So be careful when you engage me. I might do something, some black magic one way or the other. And my mother never went to school. She worked as a domestic worker. Prior to that, she used to be a gardener. We grew up poor. And then, obviously, my first interaction with white people is when I worked as a farm laborer. I started working weeding sugarcane fields at the age of 12. At the age of 12, I could carry 12 kilograms of fertilizer on my back, and I never looked back. We used to work very hard, even Christmas and public holidays. There were just no holidays, considering that there were no labor laws then. And of course, this is perhaps I'm moving a little bit ahead, and being exposed to such working conditions, poor working conditions, it made me open up my mind. It opened up my mind, and then I started looking around me what was going on. The white gentleman I was working for was chairperson of the South African Sugar Association. He's late now. He was filthy rich. He even helped me in terms of financing my education to a point where I finished my LLB degree. But indirectly, he also helped me because he opened up my mind. I was able to look around and see how he discriminated between different race groups in terms of workers. He had an Indian foreman, and every other supervisor was Indian. And Africans like me who were laborers, accommodation for Africans who lived in the compound, it was just one room. Indians had 4 or 5 room accommodation. There was a huge disparity even in the salaries. Right? My mother, for example, worked there. She was earning 11 rand 40 cents a week when she died in 1980, whereas Indians were earning far more than that. That helped me in terms of understanding that there is discrimination in terms of how we are treated. Black people are really not taken seriously. There was discrimination. So that opened up my mind.
Could we say that's probably the reason that inspired you to pursue a legal career, or
Yes.
what could have been the inspiration?
TG, that was partly a reason. It inspired me because I wanted to do something about it. I suddenly had a passion. I wanted to do something, and I wanted to be better, right? And also he used to, I've said this on so many occasions, one of his nephews used to come to the farm, and I would wash his car. He happened to be a lawyer. I said to myself, one day I will look like that white man and drive my own car. And indeed, I succeeded.
So you were one of the first, if not the first black judge, to be permanently appointed at the Western Cape province.
Yes, I was the very first African to be appointed permanently as a judge in the new dispensation. Prior to that, the only other African who was appointed was Pius Langa. He was appointed straight to the Constitutional Court.
I see.
I was appointed straight to the High Court. I was the first African indeed.
And how has your experience been? I'm knowing very well how racist that province is.
It has been hell, to say the least. Transformation, we all know, in the Western Cape is painfully very slow. And if you champion transformation like I've done that for the past 29 years, you immediately become the enemy of the establishment. They don't want any changes in the Western Cape. White politicians in the Western Cape, as you would know, Princess Mautwe, they still refer to black people as immigrants
Yeah.
who come from the north, who are all South Africans, but in the eyes of a lot of white politicians in the Western Cape who are all foreigners because the Western Cape is meant for them. So it has been hell all the way, but I'm not going to stop fighting for that which is just and humane.
Do you believe your appointment to the court contributed to the transformation of South Africa's judiciary in one way or the other?
I would like to believe yes, TJ, because immediately after I was appointed, I didn't rest. There were so many other people that I opened the way for them. It is no exaggeration that in the Western Cape, about 70% of the judges are black, right? I'm using the term black generically to include Africans, to include Indians and coloreds. And the whites are, out of 33 judges, I think we have 7 whites. So I have transformed the bench significantly in terms of race and gender, considering that a lot of people that I recruited to that bench subsequently left. A good example, Chief Justice Sandile Ngcobo, he started his career in Cape Town. I recruited him to the bench. The current Deputy Chief Justice Mandisa Maya started her career in the Western Cape. I recruited her. She served her acting stint under me. I was already the JP. So I believe I have done reasonably enough, but it's never more than enough.
Yeah.
There's still room for improvement. But I tried my best to transform the division.
There you have
So
it,
would you-
guys. Our African leaders try to do their best, in their speeches and try to make speeches that actually to show, their efforts in trying to help manage the challenges which Africa is actually facing through and has been facing through since the colonial times. And so we here to really listen to these speeches and to share our thoughts in the comments. And so whatever it is you guys think about these speeches, please do share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please share and like and subscribe because that's the way you support Kwazemi as a channel, an Afrocentric channel, where we try to understand deeper issues in African history and hopefully develop a collective intelligence on how we wish to build the Africa we want to see as people of Africa. See you in the next one.